Kyle Hoffman. I'm the owner and president. So I started the company back in 1993, actually getting ready to celebrate 30 years of working with and for roofing and more. A great question. What comes to me when you say that I have to tell a story is I was at an event one time and the guy leading the event said, "Who here believes their company's different?" And of course, I was up front. I'm always in the front of the place and I'm in people's faces and I'm not shy. And I just raised my hand, me. And he said, "All right, you, what's your name? Stand up." And he started to ask, he asked, "What makes me different?" And I named a bunch of things. Things like, well, my father taught me high quality, great craftsmanship. We do what we say. We're honest. I went through a whole list of things. And then he said, "Anybody else in the room that can say those same things, please stand up." And I turned around and looked, and almost every single person in the room stood up. Very valuable lesson, because it was like, what really makes a company different than other companies? Right now, I'm not saying that nobody else does these things that I'm going to state, but I think the number one thing that makes Roofing and More different is that on our organizational chart, God owns our company and we all work for him. So the Bible says that work as if you're working for the Lord, right? So we focus on God, his word. Now, somebody might say, yeah, there's other people could say that. I get that. But one of the first things we do if and when a problem arises or we have a tough decision to make is we say, what does the Bible say about this? And we actually make our decisions based on what the word of God says. And for me, that sets us apart and makes us different and really sets us up for everything else. Because I had a guy ask me one time, he's like, "What makes you successful? What makes you different?" And I told him what I just told you. God owns our company and we work for him. And he kind of hesitated and he goes, "No, that's not really what I was looking for, Kyle." And I said, "Oh, you're talking about the 18 touch points, the 18 things that we do to separate ourselves from other people." And he said, yeah, that's what I want to talk about. And I said, "I need you to understand something. Those 18 things aren't as meaningful and we don't do them as well without the first thing. Because with the first thing, with God owning the company, we really do those other 18 well. It makes all the difference, Wendy. And that's the one thing that I say separates us from many companies." My biggest source of pride in the work that I do is, for me, I got my first job. I got married very, very young, and I got a job in Buffalo, New York, carrying shingles up a ladder. And I learned the business, or I learned the trade. I learned how to start to install shingles and how to do a complete roofing system and how to really do everything. And then I started learning how to sell the business and sell products and services and sell quality, if you want to use the word sell. But I don't like to look at it as we sell. I'm just trying to be clear here. I like to look at it as we educate people and then they decide if they want to purchase from us, right? But I would say that going from there to here is my greatest sense of pride in what I get to do every day. See, I get up in the morning and I don't get up going, I don't know who is watching this that ever seen the commercial on TV. It was a newspaper commercial. I believe it was the Washington Post. And this guy gets up and he goes, "Oh, not another day, not another day." And he goes to work and he has a parrot, and the parrot just sits there going, the parrot, I can't do a parrot, so I'm not going to try, but the parrot goes, makes the squawk noise and he goes, "Not another day, not another day." And it was an advertisement actually to place your ad, look for a job in our ads, right? But I get up every day and I get to do what I get to do. I'm excited about serving people and changing lives and helping people achieve success. And that's our clients, as well as the team members that work at Roofing and More. I connect with the first part of our mission statement, which says that we employ best-in-class people and we provide best-in-class products and we utilize and practice best-in-class practices or standard operating procedures, things, the way we serve our customers and ourselves and our team. And what I love about that is everything's best in class, right? Like we all know that different business models work, right? We know that, I mean, I'm not calling anybody out, but there's a store called Dollar General. And I think everything in there is $1. And that business model obviously works, right? And then we have Mercedes and BMW and, you know, higher end, and those business models work and everything in between. But for us, when I started doing this, as I said earlier, I kind of climbed the ladder, no pun intended, to where I'm at today. And so by doing that, I've decided along the way that we are best in class. Everything we do is the highest level, the highest quality, best in class. And that is what I connect with the most in our mission statement. Company culture can be very, very challenging. And what I realized over the years was that the company culture starts with me and ends with me, and my attitude and my perspective and how I lead and how I manage and how we do things, right? But I mean, my wife and I go to this restaurant that we would frequently go to. And we went there for some years, and all of a sudden things started to change. The service wasn't as good, the cleanliness wasn't as good, the food wasn't as good. And one evening I sat there, I looked at my wife and I said, what do you think happened, beautiful? And my wife looks at me and she goes, I learned it from you. Management. Everything trickles down from the top. So I have to lead well, I have to be an example, I have to do what I say. I have to model good culture, right? And if I do that combined with best-in-class people, we've got an amazing culture at Roofing and More. You might introduce me to a friend and you might say, this is Kyle, I work for him. And I will always correct that person, say, no, you work with me, right? So I get the pleasure of working with 4 people that report directly to me, and that would be Wendy, Dustin, Marie, and Armando. And I will say that as managers themselves and their growth and leadership, it is truly a pleasure to work with each one of them every day. And again, it's that best in class, that mission, you know, and I want to say that we are a family business, but Marie, my daughter, is not in her spot because she's family. She's in her spot because she earned it, because she climbed the ladder to her success. Armando, production manager, happens to be my son-in-law. He is not a production manager because he's my son-in-law. He's the production manager because he's amazing at producing and managing production. And so Dustin is our sales team leader, and Dustin came into the business. He's not family per se, like blood family, but he came into the business and he also earned his way to the position that he has. He's been with us about 5 years now, and every one of them has earned their way. And then, of course, we have you, Wendy, right? You may be the newest member of the Roofing and More team, but you had the resume and you earned with referrals and interview process your way to that position. And that is the most exciting part of me working with the team that I get to work with every day, is they've all earned their way to where they're at, and they deserve the utmost respect because they have earned it. It wasn't given to them. On the leadership team itself, what I would say is one day I walked into our executive leadership team meeting and I said to my team, I said, I don't want to be the guy. Like, I don't want to be the person who you all look to make a decision. I've decided that I would like us to make decisions together. So what we do now is of course I'm the owner, and sometimes people will look to me, but from building the business, serving the customer, how to handle certain situations, building training programs, providing the exceptional experience for the clients, and figuring out how can we step that up another level. All these decisions are team made and team led, which I just absolutely love that. For years, I didn't know any better. I was the guy and I would make the decisions. And unfortunately, I didn't always make the best decisions, Wendy, but today I like to see that we make better decisions than I made alone. So that's the best part of leadership at Roofing and More for me and the team I work with. Yeah, this would go to hit me a little emotional on my emotional strings, because it would go back to 2010. We all know that we had the recession in 2008 and 9, and it really hit me hard. It hit us hard. What made it even harder is that Kyle Jr., our son, was killed in an automobile accident. He was 17 years old. And I was in my office in 2010 wondering if it was over. After 16 years in business, I was wondering if it was over. And I was praying and asking God if it was time to throw in the towel. That was the words I used. I said, is it time to throw in the towel? And this little window on my computer screen popped up and it said, business troubles, we can help. You know, the ding, like it don't, like made the noise, and because my email was on, you know, and it literally said business troubles, ? We can help. And that's a long story, but it led to me sitting down with my coach and mentor today and looking over everything and deciding if it was time to throw in the towel or not, because it had gotten pretty bad. And I'm not blaming anything. It ultimately, it all fell on me. I was the leader and I had failed to make some decisions and do some things, right? Regardless. And so my mentor and coach looked at me after he had looked at everything. He said, Kyle, it's not too late. We can save your business, but I have a question for you. And it's a very important question. And he said, is your heart still in this? He knew what I'd been through. He knew the tragedy, the devastation. And I decided that I was going to go pray and talk to my wife about this, because it was a big question. We had a big climb to make if we were going to do this. And I had said, as I was praying, I knew Kyle would want me to say yes. He would want my heart to still be in this, Kyle Jr. And so I came back, and I just remember I had this big meeting with everybody, called everybody in, and I just stood up in front of them, told them that story. And I said, I'm proud to say my heart's still in it. Kyle Hoffman is back. We're going to do this thing. We're going to fix this thing, and we're going to be successful together. And it really was a big, big day. And that's the day that stands out, because that was the day that I made one of the most important decisions in my life, because a lot of great things have happened because I decided my heart was still in it. I have so many stories and so many things that I wouldn't have shared if I would have decided my heart wasn't in it. That was the day.